You should, absolutely. But that doesn't mean no one's going to judge you because you're not putting your hands up during worship. And if someone is judging you because of what you're doing at that church and you're not putting your hands up during worship, then I don't know, to me that's wrong. I think the fact that you are there means everything to them.
0, 1. Let's get started.
Let's do this thing. All right, welcome back to Real Talk with K.M.B. I'm K.M.B., as you guys should know by now, because this is like my 97th episode. We are getting to the end of the pod. Sadly, at some point this is gonna end. But I thought about it that I am gonna make a two-parter or something. It sounds interesting, doesn't it? But yeah. And the first part, I'm going to talk about people that are afraid to go to church. Because sadly, some people are afraid to go to church. Some people feel like they're not welcome. I heard people say that if I step into a church, the church will catch on fire with the stuff that I said or the stuff I do. The church wants broken people in the end of the day. Those are actually the strongest Christians, as I said before. I know a lot of people that grew up going to church every Sunday, but they still don't know who the Lord is. They still don't understand what did Jesus do for them. Instead, they think that Sunday is just a routine to go to church. Like you just have to. I know some people that basically live at the church, but they still don't know who Jesus is. A church is just a building to them, and they just help out there. I know some people that grew up going to church that got church hurt. I know some people that knows Jesus and doesn't even go to church. It's crazy on how we look at church. But I'm gonna say this. There is sometimes where I hesitate on people that go to my church. Sometimes I see them slip up. Sometimes I see them get angry. Sometimes I see them lusting. Sometimes I still see sin at the church. And people that are worldly may think like, oh, I thought you Christians are perfect. Oh, I thought you guys don't sin. Oh, what happened to like being like when you follow Jesus, you're a pure Christian and you're everything and your sins go away because you got baptized and stuff like that. A lot of people don't understand that it takes time and effort. It is hard to conquer those sins, to be pure. It's not where you can just step into a church and then boom, you're a Christian. Boom, you're following Jesus. You're on the prayer team. You're worshiping. Your hands up are high, like high as ever. I'll be honest with you. I'm one of those people that I don't put my hands up during worship. That sounds bad. It does. But I'm also one of those people, though, that do go to church every Sunday. That does understand that Jesus did sacrifice himself on the cross. That I do listen to the message. Not just because you're there at the church, that doesn't mean you have to do all of that. You should, absolutely. But that doesn't mean no one's going to judge you because you're not putting your hands up during worship. And if someone is judging you because of what you're doing at that church and you're not putting your hands up during worship, then I don't know, to me that's wrong. I think the fact that you are there means everything to them. My church is also one of those churches that, well, people consider it a mega, but it's one of those churches that you can dress on however you want. If you want to show up in sweatpants and a hoodie, then show up. If you want to wear jeans and a nice jacket, then show up. If you want to wear a suit, then show up. If you want to wear pajamas, which in my opinion, I think that's a little not necessary, but you can still show up. And you would not be judged. No one's going to be like, oh, would Would Jesus want you to wear that here? No. No one is going to say anything. It's all about the church that you go to. And sadly, some churches do judge. You know, some churches are where you got to wear the nice khaki pants and the button-up shirt or the nice dress and the heels and all that. There is some churches out there where some women still can't show hair. It's crazy that those churches still are out there, those Christian churches. And I'm sorry if you have gotten church hurt before. I'm sorry if something has happened at the church. And the hardest part too is that when a church does something, when a certain pastor does something at a church, the church gets blamed and the church gets a bad reputation. Is it the church or was it the pastor there? That's the real question. When something bad happens at a school, do we blame the school or do we blame the teacher that did it? Or the student that did it? Do you still send your kid to that school that got shot up? Well, do you? Or it got shot up one time, so you will not send your kid there? Again, do you blame the school or do you blame that student that brought that gun? You blame the student. So why is it when a pastor does something at a church, how come everyone is blaming the church? How come everyone's blaming Jesus for what has happened? That's the real question. Why is it that it just because it needs this like good, great reputation, which I think a church should do, absolutely. But why is it that because one pastor slipped up, that's the reason why it made a mistake? That's why it's wrong to go to that church, because that pastor did what he did or she did. Again, we're always quick to blame, but enough is enough. Like I said in the beginning of the video, people are afraid to step into a church. Jesus wants broken people. He wants broken people to come to him. Again, those are the strongest Christians, because you know what it's like to not have Jesus in your life. There is a reason why alcoholics go to church to be better, to stop that addiction, because only Jesus can stop that addiction. You cannot stop it yourself. You may go to rehab. That's why your AA sponsor tells you to get more into your Bible, tells you to go to church every Sunday, because Jesus is the one that can help you. And I remember too, again, I used to be this judgmental person that when people at work are sinning people, and they represent sin, and they tell me they go to church and they clean themselves as a Christian. And I used to get super mad at that. But I have to realize that we are not perfect. Not at all. And it's not, I'm not saying like, oh, you can still let them sin. Oh, go ahead. No. Tell them it's wrong, absolutely. But don't forget that the church does want broken people. I remember one time there was this guy at the gym, right? He was talking about how he got it on with this one girl last night. And then he slips up and says, "Oh, I'm actually this one older woman actually invited me to church." And right away my mind's like, "You're telling me that you just messed around with this one girl and stuff like that, and then you're gonna enter the Lord's house like nothing bad happened?" But you never know if they're gonna talk about sex before marriage during that service and how it's wrong. You never know if he's going to open up his eyes and be like, whoa, like, I want a wife. I need to stop these bad habits. You don't look at it like that. And instead, a lot of people look at it like, oh, you're going to church, but yeah, you just did this and that, and that's wrong and stuff like that. Oh, would Jesus want you to do that? Yeah, Jesus does still want broken people. He wants you to stop the habit, but you also have to learn why the habit is bad. And again, a lot of people think Christians are these perfect people. Again, Jesus was the only perfect person. So again, the church does want you to come. And again, as I just talked about church, like I'm okay in my church. I feel safe at that one. Have I ever gone church hurt? No, I haven't. Thank God. Nothing has bad happened to me at any church. But I will say this though, I don't like small churches. I don't like when I walk into a church and everybody feels like they're surrounding me and it's all tight and all eyes are on me. I'll admit it. I like them big. I like them where you can walk in and one person just says hi to you, and that's fine for me. Okay, we're all different. It's the spot that you like, it's the pastors that you like, it's the messages you like. And again, not every pastor is perfect. There is going to be certain things where you guys agree and disagree on. As long as you guys both know who Jesus is, it doesn't matter. And again, to the broken people out there, you can show up to church with a neck tat. Jesus still loves you. You can show up with a bunch of piercing gauges and all that. Jesus still loves you. You can show up looking like a homeless person. Jesus still loves you, dude. He wants broken people to love him and know him. And also, too, I know a lot of people that didn't grow up going to church and now they're the ones that, or I'm sorry, not a lot. I know this one person, he didn't grow up going to church. He didn't know Jesus his whole life. And next thing you know, he went one Sunday with a friend and bro was joining the worship team. Bro was going to church groups already. I was like, yo, I give you credit where credit is due. Because it's the fact, like, I'm a person that at one point knew that you go to church on a Sunday, but I didn't grow up in a Christian home. I didn't grow up where we all prayed as a family before we ate. I didn't grow up where we need to learn our Bible. I didn't grow up like that. Said again, I grew up where it's more of, oh, we go to church on a Sunday. I knew who Jesus was and I knew how to pray when I was a kid, since I was a kid. But at the same time, it's kind of like the fact that these broken people enter church and they're right away already serving at the church. They're already praying for people and all that. Like, it's just, it's so cool that people can do that. Where it took me so much time. I was 17 years old when I was a baby and a kid, such a young kid going to church and being considered a Catholic. And then I went to a Lutheran church for a bit. But I didn't know truthfully who Jesus was. And I stopped going to church for like 4 years, entered back when I was 17 and just walked in. Thank God for what happened. I'll tell more on my testimony. Walked in, thank God what happened. And I still claim myself as a Christian. I still prayed every night. I still wear cross necklaces to prove that I was a Christian. But truthfully, I was not walking with the Lord. Because again, I was surrounded okay with sin. And then it took me when I was 20 years old to enter the church that I go to now every Sunday. And started picking up on messages and all that. I didn't start serving until last year. Okay, the fact that I was going to my church for like 4 years and I wasn't even like really serving, I wasn't really like in church groups like I am now, I just went every Sunday. And then at home, it started growing more into my faith, but still, get involved into your church, dude. It's good to be around that community. Again, church does want broken people, dude. The brokenest people on social media proves that point. Look on the Instagram reels of the transformations people has done. Jesus is real. And people may think like, oh, what happened if I don't get it right with Jesus? Well, I think you know the answer to that one. But it's also about when you do. And when you do get it right, it makes a difference. You change in such a good way. So, you see transformations all the time on social media. So, again, the church does want broken people. So, I recommend going to church. Find the right one. But I'll let you guys go. Peace.